she's done a good job. I've been with you for the last half an hour, so if I known earlier, I could have joined earlier, but never mind. So the presentation will be interwoven. We are talking in the same project. What I'll try to cover in this short time we have together, we'll look at the logistical value chains and the challenges we have to realize the things I'm going to present, and it's really correlated and interwoven with the things that Sophia already presented to you. I'll give you a little bit of a background on statistical data. My domain of expertise is supply chain, and I deal with the things that I like quantitative models. So I deal with a lot with data in my professional experience, and I think data is important. So we'd like to be quantitative, and in this project also quantification is interwoven in the project. We're currently working on a theoretical model also to predict the throughput of the different value-added resources that comes out of these side streams, and also to build a viable economic model that will enable us in the steady state to realize the things we are talking about. Then a short introduction. I think I'll make it shorter because I think Sophia already presented the project. And then we'll deal with the different CVCs, the circular value chains that we are covering in this project. They are divided to two sections. One is the organic ones, and then the non-organic. And then we'll really go into details into the main logistical challenges, and we'll talk about the value chains, different one, the organic, non-organic, few samples of the CVCs, what we are dealing with when we talk about logistic processes. And we talk about also managing this process using a computer platform to realize and manage and the flow of information and material in real life situations. Background. As you all know, there's really an exponential growth in the fish supply for the last 50 years, from the 1960s onward, due to the population growth all over the world. You know, the numbers are mind-boggling. We are talking about almost 5 billion people in the planet, and we have to provide and feed these populations. So we turn to find other available sources of nutritional food, and one of the main ones is the sea. As you see in the numbers here, the fish meat is surpassing the meat from land animals, as is stated here. This is data from, you'll see it later, from the United Nations organizations that cover these topics. And look at the numbers per capita from 9 kgs to 20.2. It's amazing. It's more than double. And look at the last number, more than 70% of the fish caught, we cannot consume it in the source node. We have to subject it to further processing before being placed on the market, either as canned ones or other types of processes. But the byproduct of these things is the waste, the creation, a huge amount of waste. And What are we gonna do with it? As you've seen stated here, 55% of the fish are processed either in industrial fisheries or less processing is small scale ones, and the amount of waste that is generated is amazing. This is something it's not common in industry at all. You think about it, the input of one unit, and you'll get 80% of waste in the other side. This is not an economical, practical from economic point of view. Wasting 80% of the material. We're talking about material, not this is not software, electronic things that we write software and we don't have almost now no hardware goes into it. In this case, this waste, the amount of waste created is huge. Continuing with this statistical data, provide you with a few samples to give you a better understanding what we are talking about. Look at the salmon ones. Salmon, the gutted head-on gutted salmon, 70% waste. Salmon fillets, it increases to 45%, and the canned tuna. And the canned tuna is 70% waste. One of the side stream providers in our project deals with tuna. So think about it as we stated. You take one unit and you have to throw away 70% of it. And the logistic behind handling, collecting, handling, moving, transporting, and at the end, dumping or burying, landfills. This is usually what happens to the waste. I have to tell you that I was very surprised when we started to collect material for the call. Usually we are talking about research, and this is a research okay, the calls are research and development ones. But I'll tell you honestly, all the ideas that presented here have been done already, carried out in a small scale, extracting these value-added resources from the fish side streams, either for using cosmetics, nutrients, nutraceuticals, food additives, and animal feed, such kind of things. All of it has been done already, so there's no novelty or innovation in this case, in these issues. But the major thing about it is it's done in a small scale. And the big idea or main challenge, our project, how do you scale up? How do you scale up, going from a small amount to huge amount, to create a new industry? Actually, it's a new industry, and that you have a steady state, continuous flow of side streams material that you can handle it, take it, extract these value-added resources, and produce final products with the resources. Depends on the application. There are finished good applications per sector, either cosmetics, food, or biofeeds. So this is I think the most challenging things, and there are few similar projects running in parallel in all over Europe and other continents dealing with these things. And nobody has come out with a practical solution yet. We'll talk about it. This is part of the challenge of this project, or to scale up these operations and make them viable in the steady state in the long run. Further examples of final products, as I stated, fish meal. Look at the number here. fish meal produced from fish waste will represent almost 40% of fish meal productions. So it's a staggering numbers, and that's why I talked about scaling up. We talked a lot of huge amount of materials. Okay, it's unbelievable even. If no questions, comments, I'll continue, please. And as Sophia stated earlier, high-end products, collagen, gelatin, leather, plastics, cosmetics, food supplements, such kind of things. The project. So what we would like, as we stated here, to demonstrate and replicate cluster implementation of systematic solutions of CVCs. It's not explicitly written here, but the main idea is scaling up. Okay, scaling up these processes and actually creating almost from nothing a new industry. The CVCs that you've seen, we start with the organic ones. As Sophia presented to you, we have got in the organic ones, we have 3 different CVCs. 2 of them are, I think, are different from the other. The third one, the one you've seen, the coop, the one from Ilvov coop, because the CBC ones, as you've seen, the Ecosphere C at the source node, we have two types of side streams created from Seabass sea bream. It could be either separated or mixed together. It depends on the process. And you'll see the whole process flow. It starts with the collection of the side streams. Once we start processing the Seabass and sea bream, and depends what you're gonna do with them. And the side streams will be collected. Depends. Okay. And each type of CVC, the collection and the storage. In this case, if you've seen, Sophia was talking about the Themis machine. We would try to avoid moving a huge amount of material from side to side, because this transportation, as you know, is also carries out with it. It's not environmental friendly. We use few fossil fuels that contaminate the environment, and they carry out also costs. So if it's possible and justified economically and by volume, the scales of the processing, we can, in one of them, you'll see that we put a Themis machine. The Themis machine, you've seen the photo. We'll put it in the source side, at the source node, to process the side streams over there, and then we'll extract, as Sophia stated, almost 70–80% of the material that mostly are liquids or what. And we have the powder. And so when we have the powder, we have, of course, less material to process and transport. And it will be done in the source node, so we avoid a lot of fossil contaminations through the fuels and the costs associated with transporting this huge amount of material. And then it moves to the extractors to process and extract with the different processes, the value-added resources. We talked about peptides, gelatin, collagen, and other things. Another thing I think you should bear in mind, usually as a consumer, when you go to buy something, usually you have an idea what you are going to buy. Yes, you're looking for a new garment. You have in mind the type of garment you are going to buy, the size, the materials that the garment will be made of. When we are going to industry, when we buy raw material, the raw material is predefined. We have an item that characterizes the item in a specific characteristics. If it's in pharmaceuticals or food or such kind of things, we haven't defined also the quality. But think about these side streams. When you collect the side streams, you don't know what are the contents and the quality of this material prior to processing it and sampling it. Okay, and this is an issue. When we get to the COOP CBC, we talk about it because there, I think it's more problematic than the others. Here, even as it's stated here, it's a sea bass and sea bream. We have two types of fish, and think about it that we have a mix of the discarded parts comes from the head, the fins, bones, such kind of things mixed together. So we don't have an actual definition, exact definition of the contents of this side stream, and this is another challenge. The next challenge, think about it, a cultural thing, and we've seen it when we started to, as Sophia started, we are moving from the theory to the practical issues. The people that are dealing with these side streams currently treat them as a waste. Tomorrow morning, we need a paradigm shift that they're going to treat it as something with a value, and it's not an easy thing to carry out. It's something that's not happened from day one to day two. It takes time to treat the side streams as something that has value and keep it in a refrigerated or temperature controlled environment. And you have to think about it. It's a challenge. Also, this another challenge when we come to deal with people dealing with these side streams. It's a nice thing to call it a side stream, but in real life, still it's a waste that currently is put in a bins, and the truck comes, collect these bins and take them to dumpster or whatever. And we need to change also the attitude of the operators in these places for the side streams. The second side streams is parallel to the previous one. It deals with tuna. If you recall, the western tuna was staggering 70%, if I recall correctly. And as I stated earlier, we have also a CVC that deals with tuna. The process is almost similar to the previous one. And we need to, one of the things we are trying to do through the sampling and the research stage is see which one of them, which type of value-added resources we can get them in a better quality, and the amounts we can extract with these types of side streams. So over here, in this case, also, if it will be the volumes will justify it, we can put also a Themis machine. That's in the statistics for sure. We have to put it in the source node to process the side streams and create the EcoeFISH powder at the source node. And then we don't have to carry, as I stated earlier, all the materials and move it forward for processing in other places with all the associated costs and contamination. This is the one you've seen the photos, and get to the next slide. It is you've seen, you'll see it, the slide with the pictures of the hypercoop and the fishmonger. Here, this is a very complex side streams. Why? Because we don't know, as Sophia stated, this is the content of the side streams. It can change daily, and also seasonality effects. And this is a normal things in life, in industry, that you don't know the content of the material you are buying and the quality of the material you are buying. Okay. So we carried out a lot of discussions and with all the partners involved in this to formalize the process flow and how we're gonna monitor everything. As Sophia stated, and I would like to emphasize, currently the regulation is very strict. The regulatory issues involved in dealing with these side streams require us, as we've seen, I'll go to these photos you've seen already. Why do we need the IoT device? We need the IoT device because in the hypercoop or the supermarket over there, it's air conditioned, but it's not enough. Air conditioning, it could be 20 degrees, 25 degrees, depends on the person also, if he likes to be cold or warmer. But regulation here requires us, as it's not so clear from the slides, but we need the IoT device need to monitor that the temperature is not, the storage bin is not higher than 6 degrees Celsius. Okay. In case it goes to higher than 6 degrees Celsius, we call it a temperature breach. We passed the threshold, the threshold, and the IoT device will send an alert to the responsible person at the site to review and take an action, maybe disqualify the side streams or not disqualify it. Depends how long it was in this state of higher than 6 degrees temperature. And again, as Sophia stated, we take the side streams that are collected in the bags in the bin. We move them to the freezer. We put them in the freezer, and in the freezer also we monitor the temperature. As you've seen here, there's another IoT device. We have to verify the temperature does not exceed, is not higher than minus 16 degrees while it's in the freezer. And also it continues during transportation. We monitor it using a data logger or another IoT device in the transporter to verify the temperature is still under or equal to minus 16 degrees Celsius. And when it moves to the processing site at GEM, and over there it will be unloaded from the transporter truck and put in a freezer over there also to be in a temperature controlled environment. And you see, we follow the system and the process from all over the nodes to verify that no temperature breach happened in either nodes or during transportation. It's not a 1-0 situation here to qualify or disqualify the side stream, because even in the pharmaceutical food, and it depends what happened to the batch, or in this case the side stream batch. If it was exposed more than, let's say, half an hour, or 1 hour, 2 hours, depends. And the temperature at the room at that time was, let's say, 25 degrees, 30 degrees. It's the one thing. And if it was let's say 7 degrees, and it's been exposed to 5 minutes, the side streams, I'm not so sure it will be disqualified. So it's not a 1-0 decision. Somebody has to get, when he gets the alerts, he has to go and check and make a decision. So it will be an informed informant, somebody that has a little bit understanding in quality issues, to take a calculated decision. As the system can recommend and present him with the data, but it comes to people to take the action and decide what to do and what not to do. Now we move to the non-organic CVCs. If you have any question, let me know, so we can. It's not a one-sided lecture. If you have questions to verify things, please let me know. Raise your hand and ask them. Anybody? Okay. I hope it makes an interesting case and everything is clear. The next thing we move to the non-organic CVCs. In this case, we talk about ecosphere soil. Here we have bio-based PLA fish boxes that we collect them at their source node, and after that we have a batch of collected bio-based PLA. As stated here, they are CO2 rich. We move them to move and clean them and move them to the processing node. And over there, there's one of the partners, as written here, he designed the fish boxes, molded ones, injection molded fish, and it's registered a trademark of them. And they're gonna produce these fish boxes, and the fish boxes will move along the CVC to fishermen that are involved in the project or not involved, like in GAS or Aqua fish packaging, and or external stakeholders, as stated here. And by the end of life, the used one, the EcoeFISH boxes will be collected and returned for treatment, and will be processed as natural-based soil improvers, and that's how we close the loop. We haven't started going into details about the process flow of this CVC. Currently, we are dealing with the technological and issues, but in the coming months, we'll go into details also to cover these CVCs. Mainly, we cover the organic CVCs so far, going into logistical details of the processes. As you recall, you've seen the photo of the collected aquaculture nets collected from fisheries or fishermen. Depends from which sources. The discarded fishing nets or disposed or discarded fishing nets are collected, and they need to be as it's written here, they need to be processed. First of all, the sorting, cleaning, and disposal. All the foreign bodies have to be removed that are entangled in the nets. And currently, this is a manual operation. And this is something as we are going to talking about scaling up. Scaling up will require mechanization of this process. And here we have a challenge. This is not part of this project, but I think for the steady state, the sorting, cleaning, and disposal, the sorting and cleaning operations, first, the main challenging one is removal of the foreign bodies entangled in and stuck in the nets. I think this is something should be mechanized in the long run. Not a simple operation for mechanical instruments, but we shall see in the future, in the coming future. Once we remove the foreign objects and we sorted the nets per material type, we clean them. Cleaning here mainly is done by washing the nets, and then they can be used as raw materials in plastic production. As so who is familiar with it, we're talking about milling and extrusion, creating polyethylene 6, polyethylene 66. Propoplast is a partner in the project. And in this case, the final application, we are talking about car brackets. And the car brackets will be sold to in the automotive industry part that are external stakeholders. They are not part of the project, but this is an application and as a potential a commercial potential. A similar one of another use of nets. These ones are collected from fishermen, and again, we think the challenging operation is the removal of the entangled objects that stuck in the net, sorting, cleaning, and then it will be either the source node or the processing node. It depends. I'm talking about the steady state, not the research state. And then here we are talking about polyethylene products. Again, these nets should be sorted by after the cleaning by the type to be processed. Again, we're talking about plastic operation processes, so milling and extrusion. And here we talk about PE, polyethylene lamination, to use in cosmetic packaging. Okay, then the cosmetic producers are not part of the CVC. They are external stakeholders in this case. But again, we have a potential commercial value of this side stream. Another CVC, last but not least, is the ghost gears. And ghost gears, this is something also covered in this project, and a lot of activities, because ghost gears mainly, people, the fishermen themselves, or people discards object. It could be the fishing nets, could be other things that are left in the sea, thrown into the sea, and they contaminate the sea. And on this project, in those objects, also marine things grow up on it, and so the work and energy to collect, clean, sort without damaging the environment during the process of removal. This is also a challenge, and we have seen few activities. The WWF carried out few activities during the last 2 years of removing and collecting ghost gears. Think about it to, again, in this case, scaling up and more and processing large scale and the industrial level of ghost gears. We require major operational or logistic infrastructure. And once we removed it brought it to the shore, and again, we have to sort and clean it and dispose what it's not possible to recycle. And depends on the outcome of the sorting and cleaning, the types of material that we're gonna use it in the maybe fishing nets, might be plastic to be processed, such kind of things. It goes back from here to the previous CVCs. It will continue the process over there. So I suggest that if you want, we can take a break here for a few minutes and continue. It's up to the audience. You want to take a break or a few minutes?
Yes, maybe. Thank you.
Okay, for how long do you want to say? So we'll adjourn for 5-10 minutes. So let's take a break for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes we'll continue with the presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. So welcome back, everybody. We've finalized the last CVC related to ghost gears, and now we would like to go and cover the main logistical challenges of these CVCs. As stated here, when we are talking about recycling processes, this is we are talking about the side streams. We use them as a product or a raw material. It doesn't matter. We have to treat it as something with a value, okay, as any other industry. And as stated here, we have to put in place all the facilities, infrastructure, and environmental conditions. So this recycled product or side stream will be recyclable as long as possible. And the next challenge with it will be what are required, what are the things that are required to enable these things. And when we go to the next slide, let's talk about a few issues. I'll get to this slide later on. When we talk about challenges, logistical challenges, we are dealing with when we started with the source nodes. If you've seen the CVCs, first of all, we have the first challenges are cultural things. How to change the mindset from something that is treated as a waste currently to something that has value, that has inherent value, and we can use it as a raw material. We can sell it and make even profits from this side stream. This is the thing that it's not going to happen in one day. And the next issue of handling of these side streams is the logistics infrastructure we have to put in this place. Think about it. either nets or fish, discarded parts of fish in the supermarket. As seen currently, they put it in a bag in a bin. They check the bin and dump it in a dumpster, and later on the waste truck comes to pick it up and take it away. The company will pay to the either taxes to the community, the municipality, or for the trucking company that collect the waste. Depends, and that's it. In the existing process, but changing, moving to and treating the side stream as something with a value, it's a revolution. We need a place. First of all, you have to put it in the bin and monitor the temperature, as we've seen earlier, because we have to see that the temperature is lower than 6 degrees. The next thing, you have to carry the bags and put them in a freezer, and you have to label these bags, because each side stream per day or a few days, it's a different batch. We're talking about batch. This batch, I need an item number, a name. In our language, in the professional language, it's called an item number and a description. And then you have a batch number. Either you write it with a pen, it doesn't matter, or print a label from a software module. The next issue is when you store it, is coordinating with your customer. We call it the customer. Okay, this is something with value. You have to coordinate with your customer the shipments. The customer can pre-order it, coordinate with you the time of the pickup. Either you're gonna transport it, or those going is transportation to pick up the side stream. And think about if we are talking things with value, we need to, as in another transaction, we have to talk about money transfer and documentation, such kind of things. And as you've seen in my presentation and Sophia's, during transportation, we also have to monitor for organic side streams. We have to monitor the temperature and follow up that it kept in a temperature controlled environment till it gets to the next node, that is the customer. If we are not in the supermarket, we're going to the fish processing plants, either tuna, sea bream, sea bass, such places. So again, we need to take the discarded parts and the side streams, put them in, collect them, put them in a storage. Again, this is something, this is a raw material. It needs a dedicated storage place. And again, we're talking about organic things. We need a freezer for that. And here we talked about the huge amount of side streams. We need to create a semi-plant for the Themis machine to process this, defrost it and process the side streams and create the EcoeFISH powder to be later on again, store it and sell it to be sold to the customers in downstream, upstream, wherever, whatever you want to call it. And these things have to be coordinated. All these activities, we have resource consumption, energy, water, labor. We need extra storage space. We need investment for all the new things we talked about, and all these expenditures was going to finance them. And when we're gonna have a ROI, return on investments, we have to calculate these things, because in real life, we need the economical viability. Otherwise, nobody is going to do anything. And on top of it, we have the environmental impacts taken into consideration. let's see that the new processes are not more contaminating, more impacting badly the environment more than the previous one, the existing one. And this is something in the EcoeFISHent project we are collecting data, statistical data, to verify and validate that the new processes are greener and more environmental friendly than the existing ones. Any questions regarding to this topic so far? Somebody would like to comment? Okay, if not, I'll get back to a little bit about technology. This is one of our responsibility in this project, also to create the cloud platform. As you know, this is a buzzword. Everybody talking about cloud platform, computer software systems. The idea of a cloud platform is that the software resides in the cloud and it's available to all the partners. In this way, you don't have software and hardware in the ends, either sources. So it's more centralized, and installing, maintaining, and operating is cheaper. This is specifically economically viable for SMBs, small medium companies that don't have the resources and the capital to develop this type of platforms on their own. So they're gonna what we call SaaS, SaaS, as a service, we take the software as a service. You pay a certain fee per month, per year, and you can use the platform for you and run the platform, all your operations on the platform, and it will be accessible from everywhere once you have, of course, internet access to the cloud. We currently we call this platform the SEAPPP, and we already designed and developed a beta version that will be live tested. We will start with the COOP CVC in the coming months, quarter 2, quarter 3 of 2024. The beta version will be deployed and live tested. And later on, we'll move to other CVCs. In the final time we have in a project, we'll cover all the CVCs. And in the infrastructure already there, we would like to carry out the pilots. And we would like to create the processes that are using what we call keys, is keep it as simple as possible. Less interference with and difference from the existing processes to avoid burdening with mainly the operators and the people in the COOP hypermarket or the supermarket or at the fish processing places, plants, from changing their operations drastically. In this way, the gradual implementation, we can also achieve a cultural change and shift in the attitude towards these things, and we can make it economically viable. So, and scaling up these processes, we can reach the aim of this project in general. By this, I've finally finished this, so it's open for discussions. I hope you have questions. If not, I'm just worried that it was too boring or too technical. I don't know. So the floor is yours, audience.